What's up YouTube, Knight's Edge here again. Got a pretty cool little review for you courtesy of the Ponds. Really appreciate you Ponds for sending these knives along, as you have many others. And hey, if you like the content, if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want more of the content. Want to listen to me ramble more and more about knives. I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate all my subscribers, all my channel members, everybody that helps the channel out. Really nice of people. And this is a great community, man. It is awesome of people to send me their knives for review. This one's a little different than most of, I don't think I've ever done a review quite like this. These are two different knives. They're slightly different, but they are very similar. It's the same model. It's got a couple differences between the two. So figured I'd review them both at once since they're both the Thunderbird. And this is the Vosteed Thunderbird. All right, there is your, let's get a close-up of that, S35VN. This one being what they call not version 1 or 2 or anything like that. They're just saying, and I'm looking at Vosteed's website right now, they're just saying this is a 3.48 Vosteed Thunderbird, and this one is a 3.25 Vosteed Thunderbird. This one is in M390. Same lock, essentially the same aesthetics. I have not noticed very many differences on these, but I'm going to explore it with you here whenever we do. Maybe there's like a hardware difference or something like that. The main differences are the sizes, right? So that's one compared to the other. And as you can see, the S35VN one there is a little bit larger than the M390 one. So let's go ahead and we'll verify those measurements. Let's get out the tape measure. Overall length on the Vosteed Thunderbird 3.48 version, 8 1/8, right? From the tip of the blade to the end of the handle, you're looking at 8 1/8 there. 3 1/2, I don't know, maybe a little over 3 1/2, so maybe a little more than 3.48 as they listed, but I'm going all the way back to there, right? So cutting edge on this, you're looking at 3 1/4 on the dot. On this one, overall, you're looking at 7 3/4, just a little more than a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch or so shorter. Overall blade length, you're looking right at 3 3/8 if you go all the way back to here where it meets up with the handle, and right at 3 inches on the dot for your cutting edge. So a little more cutting edge with that, a little more handle with that one too, with this one than with the 3.25. I guess that's what the official name is for it. I don't know. Let's go ahead and do calibers here. Let's see if there's any differences between the two with blade stock thickness. So I'm measuring, it's kind of a compound grind they got going on. I'll measure the same spot on both knives. What I think is the thickest part of the spine, 118 thousandths in the ballpark. And around the thickest part of the spine on this one, around the same, right at 117.5, 118 thousandths. Behind the edge, let's do behind the edge on both of them. We'll do them on the same point right in the middle of the belly there. 26.5 thousandths on this one, on the S35 one. And on your 3.25, I'm going to get these numbers screwed up without a doubt. You got 27.5 thousandths, no big differences there. Handle thickness, you got 47 thousandths. And on this one, you're sitting at right around 40, or not 47 thousandths. Man, learn how to read the calibers, right? 477 thousandths, a little under half an inch right there on your handle thickness. So as far as thickness goes, they are both the same, it seems like. Let's go ahead and do size comparisons with these. We'll get out the Ontario Knives Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Knives Rat Model 2 compared to both of them. So not quite the difference between the Rat 1 and the Rat 2 with the Vosteed 3.48 and 3.25. So they're a lot closer, in fact, and these other two size comparisons will pretty much show you that as well. There's your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Very, very close in overall length to the Paramilitary 2. Maybe a little more cutting edge on that one. And we'll go with the Spyderco Knives Para 3. Right, so both a little bit larger than the Para 3 without a doubt. And last but not least, for size comparisons, Cold Steel Knives 80-20 or 80-10, and the Demco Knives 80-20.5 slicer. Sorry, y'all, it's been a long day. All right. So that's it for the size comparisons. Now, I would think, logically, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I would think logically there is a weight difference, being as how one's shorter than the other. So let's check that out. Here's your 3.48, they call it. 3.6 ounces. 3.3 ounces. 3.3. 3.6. So yeah, 0.3 of an ounce, not anything to write home about, not anything really substantial at all in the weight class difference. A little bit of a difference, not much at all. Very good blade to handle ratios on these. Let's see how the clips sit here. Yep. All right, so they're pretty similar, right, with the pocket clips. Now both of these do come in all kinds of different variations each, right? So if you're looking for this color on this one or this color on this one, that is a possibility. I haven't been through all the ones on Vosteed's website, but they do have a lot of variations on this. All right, let's go ahead and do the hardware check here. Let's see, what do I have in my NAFs? You got T8 on that. Thinking some of this might be T6, but I definitely could be wrong on that. So here's a T6. Yeah, T6. Pocket clip tab, a T6. That's a T8, I believe. Let's do the other side. T6. T6. So T6 on your pocket clip screws and on the tab on the other side. At least on this one. We'll do the other one here in a second. And yeah, T8 there. Pivot's going to be a T8. Captive pivot on this one. Captive pivot on this one. T8 on the pivot on this one. Double check that. But yeah, that's T8. And we'll check the pocket clip screws here, which I believe, yeah, those are T6. And those are T6. So the tab and the pocket clip T6, the captive pivot a T8. Not too bad on the hardware. A lot better than having a rotating pivot, you know, that you keep turning and turning without a second driver. So no need for a second driver on these. That's pretty awesome. Alright, so all the specs out of the way. This thing ergonomically is very comfortable. I would probably prefer the one that's a bit larger. I wear a large size glove. Have average size hands. My hands aren't what I would call very large or very small either. But yeah, the choke back, you still got a little bit of room on this one. Choke back on this one, still got a little bit of room on that one too. Choked up, very comfortable. Seems like that's pretty much where it's at. If you naturally pull the knife out of your pocket, seems like you want to choke up on it, much like a shaman or you know, any good ergonomically sound pocket knife. The action on these is pretty good, running on bearings. This is the Trek Lock system, they call it. It's Vosteed's patent pending system. All right, so oh, there we go. So it is not. It is a button lock, right? It is in a way is a button lock, but if you look at that, that's a little bit different than most button locks you see, right? That goes through there. It's kind of like a plunge lock, but in the middle of the blade. I haven't gotten Pond's permission yet to take this apart. It is something I'll ask him. Pons, if you're watching the video, can I take this apart? Because I'd love to. This is a pretty neat design. Most of your button locks, let's see if I can find another button lock here. Get out. All right, this is the CJRB buoy pyrite. So that's a plunge lock, right? You can see that clearly on top. This one is hidden inside of the blade itself, it looks like, right? Pretty cool. I don't know if that makes the lock up any stronger or not. It might not, I don't know. But that's pretty neat. I'd have to take it apart to go into some further investigation on it. I'll ask Pons if he'll let me take one of them apart. I'm sure he will, I just haven't gotten around to asking him yet. So that's pretty cool. Now on this one, the M390 one, the 3.28, the D10 is a little bit, oh yeah, the D10's a little weak on this one, a lot weak actually. One good shake forward and you can pretty much actuate the knife. That's something to look out for sure. This one is a little more bouncy, as you can see there, a little more loose. There's no blade play whatsoever. It just is kind of dropped shut. Now whenever you actuate this one, this one won't come out on these two that I have anyway, right? So as far as actuation goes, you got your front flipper. They got jimping all the way up around here. That's really nice. Front flip, pretty easy, you know, compared to a lot of knives. I'm not the best in the world at front flipping, but it front flips for me pretty easy. You can also use the opening hole there. The multiple deployment methods on this knife definitely make it a fidget monster for sure, in my opinion. And that jimping on that button, even that's a pretty nice touch there. They kind of made that little cutout there on both of them. You can see the jimping on the button on this version a little better. This is they call it Damascus, or no, topographic G10, I believe. And this one, I think, no, this is the Topo one. This says Topo G10 on the description for this one. It just says red, which is kind of looks the same, right? I don't know why they would just call this red. So that weak D10 is something of concern to me, a little bit of a concern, not much though, especially if he would have just sent this one, you know, I would definitely be ragging on this knife for the weak D10, but this one kind of makes up for it for sure. So I don't know if it varies by the models like that, or if it's something that's common with every one of them, or if it's just random. Who knows? Somebody does. If you know about it, tell it to me in the comments. Tell me what you think about the locking system too. Is it reliable? Is it not? I thought I remembered seeing some spine whacking videos, or maybe watching a video or two of people spine whacking this and the lock failing fairly easy. Those little ridges there help out a lot. You got contouring around here, nothing sharp on it at all. That's pretty nice. That tab, as I said earlier, this is an ambidextrous knife, so if you want to take your T6, take this clip off, take this tab out, put your clip here, mount it, put the tab right there. You can carry it left-handed pretty easy. It does go pretty easy left-handed. I am not a left-handed or an ambidextrous person by any means, but I can still, you know, work this knife pretty well for not being left-handed. You know, my left-handed talents are very, very few. I am a right-handed all the way person. So really nice grind, nice blade shape on this one. Again, this one coming in with S35VN, and the other one, the shorter one, the smaller one, coming in with M390, but they do have different variations of each one. So they might have this one with the S35, and they might have this one with the M390. I was looking at it earlier on their website, and they do kind of flip-flop there, so that's pretty cool. running on bearings, super smooth, as I said earlier, a fidget monster. Ergonomically, it is really really a pleasure. And also you have a brass backspacer there, which that's pretty cool, man. I like the backspacers. Anytime they include a backspacer on a knife, I'm a big fan of that. Kind of helps keep extra trash and lint and dirt or whatever kind of from going down in your knife as it sits in your pocket like that. So that's pretty cool. A little lanyard bar right there, not really in the way of anything, not prioritized. I like that. That's pretty neat. You can still put your lanyard on it, but it doesn't mess up your pocket clip. Yeah, overall, I would recommend this knife. I think it's a pretty good one, the Vosteed Thunderbird. And for the price, what you're looking at with the M390, the M390 one goes for $135, and the S35VN version, which is this one, the 3.48, this one goes for $129. So a larger knife and a little bit different of a steel for a little cheaper, and the M390 one a little smaller for about $5 or $6 more. So not really an issue there with the price differences at all. I think these are both priced out really well. I think they're definitely worth the money. Some pretty good knives. And yeah, I think that's about it, man. This little hump here, again, I think I might have failed to mention that, but that little hump is definitely handy for piercing, you know, for pull cuts, stuff like that. Just an all-around good thing to have. I'm always a big fan of like a notch on the top of a blade. That's pretty cool. So yeah, thanks Pons. I really appreciate you sending me these awesome knives. This Thunderbird duet here to look at, fire and ice as it were. If you like the content, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want more of it. I really appreciate all you guys, and I am definitely appreciating the Pons for sending these super cool knives along. And until next time, y'all, stay sharp.